Last year, Disney Plus released Home Sweet Home Alone, the sixth entry in the Home Alone franchise, so let's take a look back at all the movies and rank them. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good one today. I'm the movie ranker, and we are getting deep into the holiday season, so what better time to rank all 6 Home Alone movies from worst to best. The quality in these films range from masterpiece to complete dumpster fire, so this should be an interesting discussion. And just make sure you smash the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of content, because we're going to be putting out a lot of holiday themed rankings here within the next couple weeks, so stay tuned and let's get into it. Coming in the last place at number 6, we got Home Alone 4. Oof, what a terrible friggin' entry in this franchise. First off, they go back to the McAllister family, but they recast everybody. All the kids, the parents, everybody. The number of siblings don't add up anymore, the ages are off, and none of the characters are believable. And even Marv is recasted, with French Stewart playing the role from Third Rock from the Sun. Really odd choice there. And it's just a terrible idea doing all these recastings. Should have just been new characters, because nothing adds up. And it's just really offensive to my childhood. And the story deals with divorce and how it affects families during the holidays. Not exactly a fun type of Christmas movie, and nor is it funny at all. And all the emotional scenes just don't land. Even the traps are terrible. It's basically just Kevin using pots and pans, and his home, which is like a smart home, he has basically like a built-in Alexa where he can like tell doors to open and shut and shit, and it's just like very lame. And I mean, the kid isn't even home alone technically. He still has his butler and his maid at home, so title doesn't make sense. Movie's a real chore to get through. It's boring, and it's one I'll never rewatch. Up next at number 5, we got Home Sweet Home Alone. I feel like this one tries to recapture the magic of the original, having this big family take off for vacation during the holidays, forgetting a child behind. But the execution is just god awful. The main kid, Max, is just so unlikable in here. It's sad to say, but I wish he was the one tortured by all of his traps. It's terrible casting as well. And I feel like they do a whole speed run on his character arc, so nothing really lands. I mean, he's left home alone. He has fun in a little montage for like 10 minutes of the film, and then he's already wishing his parents were back. And I feel like we spend more time with our burglars in this one than we do our main kid. And they're not necessarily bad people. It's more of a misunderstanding. Them trying to get something that they believe is theirs that's in this house. So it doesn't exactly feel good when they're getting tortured and beaten by all these traps, where it's like they're not necessarily bad people like in the other films. On top of that, they're really down on their luck. They're trying to sell their house. They're in need of money. And you just kind of feel bad for them. We're rooting for the bad guys in this movie, which just doesn't make any sense. And Ellie Kemper plays one of the robbers, which I really enjoy her acting. She's in The Office. She plays Erin. And I feel like she's one of the only positives in this film. But again, you're not supposed to be rooting for the bad guys. And we also get the actor who played Buzz in the original films come back. He's a policeman in this one. But it doesn't exactly save this wreck of a movie. I mean, the traps are terrible for the most part. Like Pop and Mentos and stuff like that. It's like, come on, that's so stupid. The only cool one was probably the darts with the thumbtacks or the push pins or whatever in them. That was pretty cool of an idea. But aside from that, they were all very lame. There's also little to no holiday spirit, the comedy never lands, and most of the characters are all unbearable. I mean, even Disney wasn't confident enough to put this in theaters. It went straight to Disney Plus, and it's another film I'll never watch again. Up next, at number 4, we got Home Alone 3. Now, I've watched this one when it released when I was younger, in '97. I thought it was okay as a kid, but nostalgia does not save this movie. It's more of a mixed bag for me nowadays. I mean, it's enjoyable enough, but it's definitely a disappointing follow-up to Lost in New York. Our main kid, Alex, is okay in this. He has chicken pox, and he's just trying to be a good citizen and save his neighborhood from robbers. We also get Scarlett Johansson in this film, which was a real surprise seeing her as this like young like 14-year-old or something. She's the main kid's sister. She has a really small role, but it was just weird seeing her face in here. And our four villains are serviceable enough, but ultimately forgettable. And they're extremely stupid for being these group of terrorists hired by North Korea or whatever. It's like, they're dumb. This little kid with chickenpox is outsmarting them. Again, the traps are mostly lame. 80% of them are just objects falling on top of people's heads. One of them being a lawnmower that's running. Just gives the guy a haircut, don't worry. No real damage done. And there's one real dumb a trap where a chair is electrified and it's outside. And I was like, why is he electrifying that chair? No one's going to sit there. First thing the burglar does is look at it and sit down in it right away. It's like, what? It's so dumb. And the biggest problem with the traps aren't so much the traps themselves. It's more of how extremely goofy they are. They're not funny at all. And they add these silly little stupid sound effects to a lot of them, which almost seems like a Looney Tunes cartoon or something. And on top of that, it lacks all the heart and magic of a holiday film because this doesn't even take place on Christmas. It just takes place in winter sometime. I imagine a couple weeks before Christmas. This is just a straightforward, corny, unrelated sequel. Reaching our top three, we got Home Alone: The Holiday Heist. This surprises me just as much as you guys. This is a fairly decent made-for-TV movie. It was a first-time watch, and it's not great or anything, but it gets a pass from me. I thought all the characters were fairly likable. We get a few familiar faces in here. Our head thief is played by Malcolm McDowell, which I last talked about in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And go check out that ranking if you're interested. He wears this stupid rubber boot in this movie, though, as a cast. It's really, really dumb. We also get Eddie Staples, I believe is his name. Eddie Steeples, which I recognize from My Name's Earl. He plays Crabman. He's also another thief. He's like the dumb one. And our main kid is like a hardcore gamer in this one. And I thought it was clever that the scenario he put himself in with making these traps to keep the invaders out, he just was thinking of it like a defense type of video game. I thought that was just really cool. And even though this film takes place around Christmas, it lacks all the wit, the charm, and the magic of a Christmas movie. Really, this could have been taken place anytime during the year. It's just that the fact that the parents had to go to a Christmas party, that's why the kids were left home alone. But really, they could have went to any type of party any time of year and it wouldn't have changed the film that much. So aside from its mediocre, corny traps, it really feels nothing like a Home Alone film. We also get very poor character decisions, which kind of annoyed me. One of them being like the main lead going in the basement near the start of the movie, the kid. He finds this like secret room with a safe and he just like runs away scared and doesn't tell anybody about it. And I mean, like, who would do that? I mean, tell your parents or something, right? Or your siblings. But no, he just doesn't mention it. Another thing is like the way the thieves get in the house. They go in the house in really stupid ways. One goes through the garage. One goes through a window. It's like, but yet the front door was unlocked where one of them just walks through the front door. It's just very stupid to me. All in all, this is a decent made-for-TV movie if you separate it from the Home Alone franchise. And yeah, it's good enough, I suppose. Now, reaching our top two, both of these movies are fantastic, so take this ranking with a grain of salt. But at number 2, I got Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. This movie is very nostalgic to me, and as a kid, this was my favorite, hands down. The cinematography is great. We get lots of great shots of New York. The movie is hilarious. It's the funniest entry in the entire franchise, hands down. And the traps are all taken up a notch to the point where they're death traps. Like, they're played goofy though, but I mean, they're much more extreme than the original film. Marv gets it so bad in this movie, he would be dead in a heartbeat. He gets multiple bricks to the face, electrocuted to the point you can see his skeleton, which is where I was going with the goofiness. He's walking in holes, he's getting stuck to goo and shit. It's just hilarious. On the other hand, Harry, he's trying to be much more careful this time. He knows the traps are there, so he's like checking every light bulb and being super careful. But of course, eventually he lets his guard down and he ends up getting caught on fire and all this shit. It's just so funny. We get a lot of returning cast members. I mean, the whole family, of course, the Harry and Marv, which is awesome. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. But they also have a few new additions in here, which are really great, like Tim Curry and Rob Schneider, both working at the hotel. they're hilarious as well, and the things that they get into with Kevin. But the main reason why I have this one just a bit lower than the first is the fact that they do copy a few of the beats of the original, much like Jaws 2 kind of does. I mean, Kevin gets lost again. He has to defend a house against the same two robbers who he happens to coincidentally run into in New York, one of the biggest cities like ever. And the old man basically gets replaced by Pigeon Lady. But there are a few things that they repeat that actually work better this time around. Like when he uses the tape, the movie for Angels with Filthier Souls to scare off the bellhops and that. It's just so priceless, so funny. And the movie is a little far-fetched. I mean, just the fact that Kevin can go into this basically abandoned building and create all these super elaborate traps is just crazy to me. But it's a really fun watch. It's one I watch every year, and it got lots of Christmas spirit. But coming in the first place, we got the original Home Alone. Such a classic, one I watch every year. Possibly my favorite Christmas movie of all time. It's so nostalgic to me. Been watching it my whole life, being born in 91 and this being released in 1990. Macaulay Culkin was just one of those one in a million child actors who just completely sells his roles. And his character Kevin basically gets to live out every child's fantasy. Being home alone with no rules, being able to do whatever you want. But eventually, reality sets in and Kevin realizes that family is the most important thing on Christmas. He also mans up and matures a lot during the course of this movie. He's very childish at the start and stuck in his own ways. But throughout this movie, of course, being home alone, he has to learn to do things for himself and even defend his house off against these thieves. You really see that transition of him going from bratty to grateful. And of course, this movie wouldn't be what it is without Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. Perfect casting choices for the Wet Bandits. And I love that Joe Pesci basically had to make up his own version of swearing in this movie since it's a kid's movie. Him going just like kind of like mumbling in that. It's just so hilarious, especially knowing that he's usually in all these gangster movies as this like mafia guy. It's just so funny to me. And I feel like the traps are a little bit more realistic in this one. They don't go too overboard. A few things could probably still kill them, like the paint cans, but for the most part, these are mostly just to cause injuries, like icy steps, burn your hand, stuff like that, to scare them with the tarantula. That's so friggin' funny, hearing Daniel Stern scream. We get a phenomenal score by John Williams in here. And in addition to that, we get a few Christmas songs as well. It really puts you in the Christmas mood. And I mean, there's just so many iconic scenes in here, whether you're talking about Kevin putting on the aftershave and screaming, him going to church, and we get the heartfelt moment with him and the old man. They kind of give each other advice on their lives. We also get the whole airport scene with John Candy and his crew, where he's mostly improvising like all of his lines, and it's great. Of course, we also got Angels with Filthy Souls, the first fake movie that Kevin puts on to scare off the pizza guy and the thieves. It's just so iconic. The film is just equally funny, heartwarming, and festive. It's one I've been watching my whole life. It's a masterpiece in my opinion, and I will continue to watch it for the rest of my life, and it easily comes in the number one for me. So there you have it, guys. There's my ranking of all 6 Home Alone films. The quality really ranges from masterpiece to dumpster fire, like I said in the intro. Let me know how you rank these movies down in the comments section. You can also go ahead and check out my Letterboxd account if you're interested. Link to that in the description. You can find all my other rankings on that website as well. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content like this. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.